And welcome back. Home Track Heroes here on CW11, wrapping up championship night number 1 for the 2021 season. And coming up next are Pro 4 trucks. And we were talking about during the break where this series, it would be so cool to see them double up in truck count. It would just make for such better racing. They would have so much more fun.
Well, and it's a good, affordable class that they can do. These are 4-cylinder motors, smaller pickup trucks. I think one of the things is they do a little traveling. They do a lot at Evergreen. Maybe they need to decide which one they want to be, a traveling series or a local series. And that's something that they get to make that decision on, not you or me.
Yeah, and that's a very good thing. This segment is brought to you, as you can see over my shoulder, by Busch Beer, the official beer of NASCAR, and Evergreen Speedway. Busch Beer, the sound of refreshment, crisp and cold as a mountain stream. Keep your fridge happy by stocking it with Busch and Busch Light. All right, here we go. Let's get the lineup to you. It will be in the number 9 truck, Greg Vaughn. Outside of Greg on row number 1 in the number 6 is Aaron Green, sponsored by E&E Lumber.
In row 2, it's the Cox Wheels Racing number 24 of McKenna Cox. Outside of McKenna in the Marbury Foundation Repair number 35, it's Haley Wilkinson.
And rounding out the field, the champ coming into this race and will be coming out of it in the number 98. Congratulations to Christopher Wissman. As we see, rain has picked up a lot since the last the end of our last main event that we had for our the Interstate Battery Hornets, and as the night went on, the track just got uglier, and it brings to the point you had brought up earlier about how the smart way to go is find some grip up on the top.
Well, there's not much grip anywhere on that racetrack, but as we all know, rain runs downhill just like other things run downhill. But so that top groove has a chance of maybe drying out a little bit more. But what we've seen tonight, a lot of guys kind of running the middle, which are forcing people to go all the way up the top the long way around or to the bottom. The bottom the short way around. But if you pin them on the bottom, they have to be way more careful when they step down on that throttle.
And boy, you can see the rooster tails as they go into turn number 1. Aaron Green in that number 6 truck with a nice run off the top. And the number 9 of Greg Vaughn. Look at this. McKenna Cox in the 24. Really making a nice move down on the inside. Let's hope she can make that truck stick as they come out of turn number 3. Nice job by the 24 of McKenna Cox. That should put her up into the number 2 spot with Christopher Wissman, the champ, coming in down on the bottom. Looks like he's going to take over second spot as they come out of 2.
Steve, you made a very, very good point earlier. These are trucks, and everybody knows trucks are light in the back end. That's not a good thing on a very, very wet racetrack like we have right now. And as you can see, that rain is continuing to fall, maybe a little bit heavier, but they're light in the back. Hard to get that power down to the ground and make those things happen. This is where front-wheel drive makes up for a lot of sins.
Yes, it does. All right, look at that. A single truck shot in that frame. That's how far out Aaron Green is with working lap number 3. There's Christopher Wissman in the 98 with a lot of real estate in front of him to get to the back end of the 6 of Green's truck as he takes it down into the high side of turn number 1. This is kind of interesting to see the different ways, and it's awesome because you can see the tracks that they leave in the water to see which way they made it through.
Well, Green having a very, very good night. He was the fast qualifier earlier in the evening. Had the best lap. But Christopher Wissman was the fast qualifier, followed by Haley Wilkinson, McKenna Cox, Aaron Green, and Nick Nicholson Jr., the top 5 in qualifying.
Haley Wilkinson looking pretty good in that 35 truck in the 3rd spot, as we mentioned. The champ, Christopher Wissman, in his good-looking white and blue number 98 machine. Aaron Green in the 6. He's just coming out of turn number 4. 5 down with 25 to go to make up the main event for the Northwest Pro 4 trucks here on the 3/8. The wet, soggy 3/8 that it is, but they're still getting around in good shape.
Well, it's been interesting to watch. So far, Green had the fastest lap of the event. See if that holds up, or maybe the rain stops, kind of the track starts to dry out just a little bit, if there is such a thing tonight, and see if who will have the fastest lap of this event is right now you see that 98 of Wisman, who, is kind of running that middle lane of the racetracks we talked about earlier, but obviously closing quickly on the number 6 of Aaron Green.
Boy, Wisman just really did a nice job coming down the front stretch on that as they came out of turn number 4 on lap number 5, and he's going to wrap up number 6 right now. Aaron Green's still going to hang on, but Wisman looking to say, man, I may just have to bite the bullet and go down low to get around him, lower than he may want to go. That's kind of a tough decision. He's got a lot of race left as we see a truck, and I believe that is the number 9 truck of Greg Vaughn. You can see it going down the backstretch there. So here we go. Wisman now with a nice run out of the bottom of turn number 4. We'll have a new leader when they come across, the 98 of Christopher Wisman.
I'm hoping we get some in-car footage, in-truck footage from this event, because these trucks normally don't race in the rain, and I'm not noticing windshield wipers. And
I don't see a one. I was looking at that earlier.
My wife yells at me a lot because I hate windshield wipers, so I don't use them too much. But it's very, very difficult. And you have to also understand that these windshields, have a buildup of oil and grease all year long off the racetrack, and when you mix oil and water together, they don't mix.
Not at all. So it's still Wisman now. He's not really climbing out to a huge amount of distance between him and Aaron Green in the second spot, as they are right in between turns 3 and 4 right now. Haley Wilkinson still hanging in there in that third spot, and that is McKenna Cox in the 24, trying to see if we can see if the 35 of Haley Wilkinson is still on the track, and hopefully we'll get to see her in that. She's being shown. There she is right there in the third spot.
You can see all of our top 3 moving a little bit higher up the racetrack. Even Wisman, who was leading, and he's probably the lowest of the 3. Green in second spot, the highest. Interesting to watch that they're running the highest groove possible down in turn 1, unless they change the line this time, which some all over the racetrack. But it's interesting. As you said earlier, you can see the tire tracks in the puddles on the racetrack.
Haley Wilkinson now has gotten that number 35 truck up into the second spot, as Aaron Green just refuses to give up that line, as he should. He's sticking in there as he takes it out of turn number 4. Christopher Wisman now with a fairly substantial lead as he is just going into turn number 1. There's a good shot of the 24 of McKenna Cox in her Cox Wheels Racing entry.
Well, and McKenna's going to have to drive that truck just a little differently. She's missing a front bumper from the heat race. That bumper was ripped off. I noticed it's not back on, so therefore you cannot be quite as aggressive with the front of that truck to move somebody out of the way when you don't have a bumper, because the first thing that hits is a radiator, and that doesn't work well.
And I can just hear Steve Cox, her dad, saying right now, I'm done buying radiators this season. I don't know how many I've gotten. But if he did need one, Steve would be the first one to put one in there. All right, let's kind of reset this thing here as we are coming up to the halfway point in our final main event for 2021. I had mentioned in the last race that we did for the Youth Hornets that they are actually going to be a part of the big show coming up here at Evergreen Speedway on October 2nd with the 60 Minutes of Fear. I believe that's the date, right? The 2nd?
We got a car.
It is.
Truck spinning down the back
It's
stretch.
Aaron Green. Sideways, and look at that. Oh no, there's the second place card going into that of Haley Wilkinson. She'll get that 35 gingerly back up on the track. That's part of the problem too. There may be a little bit of tread on these things, but not a whole lot, just enough to kind of throw some water out of the way, and we'll get these trucks back up underway. And
that almost looks like a steering issue there, Steve. I'm watching the front end of that truck. The wheels are pointed straight ahead, and that's the way it went, straight ahead.
Well,
like she put some turn into, into it, and it just didn't want to do that.
And Aaron Green just going around by himself with Cox with a good job. Oh, well, look at this. What? You can't see anything. No wonder. Man, she just has to use that green light there to kind of guide her around. Wow.
That's where you look out the left window and you follow that white line on the inside when you can't see where you're going. As I told you earlier, didn't see a lot of windshield wipers out there. that makes it very, very difficult.
Yep, the only one is on the pace car. You can see it shutting the lights off right now for the Evergreen Speedway pace car, the yellow Camaro. It's Christopher Wissman, Aaron Green in the second spot, McKenna Cox, and there's Haley Wilkinson. So it looks like the thing is going to be either got fixed during that little break, or it just decided it just wanted to go straight. We'll see how it goes for when we get this thing lit back up. And 4 trucks remain out of 5 that started, and we'll be coming up on the halfway spot here just in one more lap.
Interesting, just before that yellow came out, we had some of the fastest laps of the race. And Aaron Green turning a 23.759, that's the fastest lap so far, throughout this main event, even faster than the lap times of our leader, Christopher Wissman.
Boy, I would think that after you get done with 30 laps in conditions like this without windshields, those guys, every one, their eyes have just got to be killing them trying to figure out. That's just gnarly having to try and look through that. That was a stunning shot that Wilkinson had from inside her truck, and not just being able to not see at all. It's difficult enough, even whether you use wipers or not sometimes. But, boy, these guys got my respect. Christopher Wissman now, as we see Wilkinson still in that trouble spot there at the top of turn 1. But Wissman in the 98 still leading this thing. Now we're at the bottom half of the main event.
We've got about 14 more laps to go in this. This is one of those situations where Aaron Green is looking for dry, which means you follow in the tire tracks of the 98 of Wissman, but then you can't see. But right now, Wissman has got a, view full of the number 6 of Aaron Green. Green, another run right here, so it's going to be interesting to see if Wissman was taking it a little easier or Green is figuring this thing out as the race goes along.
Boy, take a look at it, Tom. The next time they come around, and from that camera that's up in turn number 1, you cannot see the driver through the windshield. Normally you can when conditions are way better than what these guys are racing in now, but take a look at this. When they come down, the camera will zoom in. Look at that. You can't see in there, so that means they can't see out. That's nuts.
And they're doing a great job, and part of that is they're looking out the left side window. They're looking out through, through, there's a window net there, but they can look through. They can at least follow the white line a little bit, and they know they're still on the racetrack.
Oh, I tell you, I respect these guys like crazy for being able to survive in this, but they still keep going. We're going to be 11 laps to go right now. Still Wissman by about 6 to 7 car lengths out in front of Aaron Green, who's been all over our leaderboard from first to the end of it, back up to second, down to third, all over the place. So a good run with 10 to go. We're going to take a break here in a few seconds. This is the Pro 4 Truck main event from Evergreen Speedway. Home Track Heroes here on CW11. We'll be back after this.